This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Dismal Abysmal says, we've heard the stories over the years about how much wrestlers earn from their merchandise. I don't recall there being a ton of Arn Anderson merch. What shirt, toy, video game, or other would Arn say he earned the most money from over the years?
How about no merch? I never had a t-shirt until a year ago. And that's out of 38 years. I had no merch at all. And no one looked at me as being, a big seller of merchandise, which that may or may not have been true, but I will contest it this way. When the Four Horsemen were hottest, when we had the original group and things were the way they were in the 80s, we were on fire. Now, we were not fan favorites at the time. People did not like us. But if Jimmy Crockett would have had the presence of mind, and I'm not blaming just him, but had he have marketed us, hired a company, a top shelf company that like Vince McMahon did and set the precedent for, if he would have marketed his company and his talent, one group of that talent being the Four Horsemen, he would still own his company. He would live in a much bigger house, maybe one almost as big as yours, Conrad, and maybe have 5 planes, because we were red hot and they really dropped the ball on the merchandising. I never got any money for merchandising. The first really big check I got for any kind of merchandise, and this was, way after I was through wrestling, was WWE when I was on the video game. It's a pretty nice little chunk of money for guys like me that live in the real world. But merchandise has not always been my thing. But Pro Wrestling Tees has been very good to me. The creative staff with Conrad and his guy, Dave Silva, and some of the stuff they come up with, I'm making more money right now than I've ever made on merchandise. And it's just because it's out there and people like trivia and they like nostalgia. And I'm still around. I still got my head in the camera every now and then, and people remember. And that's, better late than never, I guess.
It is fascinating, though. You did have, they were running your face and likeness in Horseman t-shirt promos, and you did have Galoob action figures. It's just weird to me that it was set up where you never participated in any of that financially.
Well, we got a little bit from Galoob, like maybe one check. I want to say it was, $5,000 or something, which I was thankful to get. But when you use this as your barometer before anyone goes, well, shit, back then, Arn, that was a lot of money. What are you bitching about? Well, when you look at people from WWF, the Iron Sheik was getting $80,000 a quarter on his action figures and merch. That should put it in perspective. That's per quarter.
Right.
Do the math back in those days. I just don't feel like WCW's merchandising was way behind. They put out some cool stuff on Sting, but that was about it. There was a very select few that had merchandise. And I think it was more of being in a business, where they didn't fully understand just how much money could have been made, because the company would have really benefited. It doesn't matter when it all goes into the same account. Doesn't matter where the money comes from. Live events, pay-per-views, marketing, it doesn't matter. It all goes in the same account. So
right.
Just think like we probably missed the boat on a lot of that.
No doubt. And you got to wonder, had that hypothetical situation happened where all the Horsemen jumped to the WWF, if you had that machine behind you, what could that have looked like for Horseman merch and licensing opportunities, You're
not kidding, and it would just been the foresight. I just think that it goes back to, he wasn't going to make us a ton of money. We weren't a product of his vision. We got over light years before he ever saw us. And, we created our own gimmick, and we got our own gimmick over, and that did not come from any office or any office plan, including Jimmy Crockett. We made that fly, and would have been really nice to got some nice merchandising checks. My God, if done properly, how much stuff would the Rock and Roll Express have sold?
Oh my gosh, so much.
I mean, just ridiculous. Dusty, Magnum, all those guys, all those baby faces. My God, they would have cleaned up.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.